Watch Me Work by Auntie Tina. Talk to me, I'll talk back. Hey, how you doing? You're tuning in to another edition of Watch Me Work with Auntie Tina. I know it's been a while, quite a while. It's been about a month, and I'm sorry for the long break, but sometimes you just need a break to recap and get yourself together. Had a lot of things going on. Life happens, and sometimes, when you think you're okay, you're absolutely not okay. So it's okay to take some time and get yourself together. You can't be a helper to others if you're not helping yourself, right? So, we last left out about a month or so ago with, the question, what should the 15, 16-year-old do? She told her best friend told the mom, right? And, the 15-year-old asked not, for this information to be disclosed, right? So let's move forward, right? So we talking years have passed, and the friend have kept the secret along with the mother, which is a great thing, right? And but the 15-year-old and 15, 16, she's now an adult. Let's talk about her going into adulthood, 18, 19, 20, right? And I'm gonna start at 20, at 18, right? Because this adult had her first child, so she went from suffering and trying to figure out life to now she's an adult, what she wants to be, right? Or what she thinks she should be at 18, right? Because she has her first child, right? And trying to figure out, should I have the child? Will I love the child? What kind of love should I give the child? Will she love me unconditionally, he or she, right? So she has a child. She has a little girl. And it's the joy of her life. And, she's contemplating figuring out what to do next, how to raise a child, how to give, that true love that she felt that she didn't get growing up. And throughout the times, 2 years have passed, 3 years have passed, and she's still dealing with her demons, right? She's still trying to figure out life for herself, but now she has a child she has to bring into the world, and to shelter and shield her child from any hurt, harm, or danger, right? Don't know if you should leave the child with the child's father, or who's gonna babysit the child, because you don't want to leave your child at this point with anyone that can potentially be a harm to your child. Now, everybody's saying what they won't do, but you never know what people will do until it's happening, right? And so you don't want to put yourself and your child in a situation where they're going to be hurt. So you become overprotective of that child, right? And so throughout the years, you do your best to keep your child from being hurt, being victimized from people that in your family, right? Or friends that that's friends of the family. How do we stop that? How do we stop that trend of saying, oh, their family members, we should allow them, they can go over to their house, right? And so as we move forward, she's from 18 to 20, she has a second child. And at 22, she has her third child, right? What happens then, right? So now she has 3 kids. But she still haven't dealt with the hurt from that beginning, from back when she was 12 years old. And so do she systematically, or is it a cycle where she passes some of that hurt on to her kids? You don't know, because you think that you're doing the best you can as a parent, but at the same time, have you stopped to think that some of that hurt that you feeling and you felt is being transferred to your children? Unknowingly, though. You tell them a story, and hey, I don't want you to spend the night. We don't want people over the house. I don't care, cousins. We don't care who they are, right? Because you don't want your child to be victimized in any type of way. So you shield your children, right? And you decide, okay, at some point I got to get some help, because how am I? Your kid will say something, right? And from what we've learned from our past, we don't do that. Don't say that. I don't want to hear that. But do we truly stop to listen to our children when they say, Mom, this occurred. Mom, that occurred? And do we believe them when it happens? Or do you not want to deal with that pain, or that thought of something could have occurred to your child? What do you do? I don't know. You're supposed to tell me, right? So I can tell you this. After 23 years old, at 23, we decide, what do you truly want to do with your life? How do you deal with the pain? Are you tired of being hurt? And so all those years you became a cold person. Your heart, you don't want to feel any pain. You didn't want to feel the pain, right? You didn't want to think about the past. You wanted to let the past go, right? But unbeknownst to you, the past never goes anywhere. The past is still there. And when do you deal with the past? When do you say enough is enough and I got to get myself together because I want to be a better me for my children? I want to be a better me for myself. When do I do that? And when do you do that? I'm asking you a question too. When do you do that? When do you become a better you for yourself? How can you become a better you for yourself? Who can you talk to truly that's going to give you and help you heal from the inside out? Because what you see right here is someone smiling, always ready to have a good time, the life of the party. But inside, what is that person dealing with? Do you know how hurt and misguided that person is? So you attempt to go to therapy. So at 23 years old, 24, you start going to therapy, and you say, you tell them about your life and things that occur to you. And I know sometimes we say in the African American community that, therapy is not for us and we shouldn't do it. But, we're so wrong, because we need help healing. So the 23-year-old goes to see a therapist, and, you sit in the chair and, you talk about, okay, what's bothering you? Why are you doing this? And so you say to the therapist, I don't know what's wrong, because around August and September, you have crying spells, and you don't know why you have those crying spells. And so you try to figure out some trigger points that, would trigger that. Like why August and September that depression steps in and you go into a dark spot where you don't understand who you are. And the therapist sits and look at you and, well, tell me what goes on. And you're like, I don't know. It happens. It's been happening for years, and I didn't understand what was going on, and you don't know, right? And so probably everyone's situation is different, but for this 23-year-old, the situation was every August and September they get into the crying spells, and maybe about October it kind of to subsides and go away, right? But the therapist says, well, how about this? We'll give you medication and let's see if that helps, and then you come back within a month and we'll look at it and tell me how you're feeling. Well, for you, how did that help you? How will medication help heal the hurt that you're feeling from the inside? Is it a quick fix? I don't know, because the 23-year-old never took the medication. because it made no sense, right? What makes sense is helping, having a conversation. Who can you talk to? And so people will see the 23-year-old talking to herself, trying to figure out what is wrong, is something wrong with her. But in the 23-year-old's mind, she has to self-heal herself. She had to figure out, how can I heal? How can I get past it? Was it me? Was I the cause of being victimized at 12 and 15? Was it me? What did I do wrong? And so you start to ask yourself, what did I do wrong for someone to want to hurt me as a child? So you start to pray and try to figure it out, and you try to meditate, and you do a lot of things to try to figure out what was going on and why did it happen to you. And then you come to the conclusion that you don't know. You still lost. You don't know. You don't know. What do? Do you turn to alcohol? Do you turn to drugs? The 23-year-old did neither. Didn't do either one. So the hurt stayed there. It stayed and stayed. And so you know what happened? She transferred that hurt that she felt over to her children. Because she knew no other way. She didn't unknowingly knew that she was passing on generational curses to her children. And then she realized she didn't even love herself. And the thought occurred, if she didn't love herself, how could she truly love her children? What was love? What is love? What is true love? What is unconditional love? We tend to throw that word out so freely. But what is true love? When you sit back and you think about growing up and your parents use profanity and they cuss you out in front of everybody and they make you feel bad, they call you ugly, they call you this, you call you black, you call you big lip, right? And inside, as you grow up, you start to feel, well, I'm not cute. I'm ashamed of who I am. Because as a child growing up, you always was talked about in some manner. And so how can your self-esteem, and that's that word, self-esteem, how can you build yourself up when you've been dogged out your life, your whole entire life? You've been told that you will never be anything. You've been told that, or made to feel like you were the black sheep of the family. You were unwanted. Do I blame my mother? Do I blame my father? That's the question the 23-year-old wanted to know. Who do I blame for this? And not knowing, she blamed her mom and she blamed her dad. Because they were the ones who were supposed to protect her, who was supposed to make her feel great. So she thought. But what she didn't know is what her mother or her father went through, how their life was, how it transpired over the years. What type of residual effects did the mother receive? How was her upbringing? How did she feel? Does she truly know how to love and what love should have been? And so at 23 and 24, she started to think like, okay, so now I got to self-heal myself because I can't depend on no one else to make me feel good. I have to depend on me, right? So The 23, 24-year-old, she's moving through life trying to figure out how can she make herself happy, in order to stop the curse from it affecting her children. How can she stop hurting her children? How can she stop using profanity to cuss her kids out, use, harsh words and, call them this and black, you're too black, you're too skinny, you're too this, you're too that, to her children, so they wouldn't grow up with the same type of hurt. First thing, she had to heal herself. Second, she had to understand that just because it happened and you were hurt over the years, don't mean you have to stay stuck. Third thing, figure out what truly makes you happy. And forgive those who hurt you in the past, because they know not what they did. And you not forgiving them will keep you stuck. It kept the 23, 24-year-old stuck for years. Now, not to say that she was perfect at 24, because it didn't all end at 24, right? That was just the beginning of her trying to understand, how can I make my life better so I can make a better life for the children? How does that work? Now, I'm gonna stop it right here, because mental health is very important and serious in any community. It doesn't matter what community you're in. It does not matter where you are and who you are. Mental illness is real. And we're going to discuss different things, and I can go in and say, hey, what happened when she turned 30 or 35 or 40 or 49? But I can tell you, at 49, 50 years old, she's still figuring it out, because it's not a day that doesn't go by that she doesn't deal with the effects of what happened and the things that occurred in her life at an early age. Because it just don't go away. It's still there. You don't forget. It's just a daily fix. Waking up every day and saying, I want to be a better me today. And allowing yourself to be happy for today. Because I can't figure out and know what's going to happen tomorrow. But today, I can be a better me. Today, I can love and show love to the people that I say I love, to my children. At 49 years old today, she's still figuring it out. She's still figuring it out. Dealing with all those pains, because it don't change. So as we go on, we're going to talk about different topics. We're not going to stay on the 12-year-old, because I can tell you today, the 12-year-old that's 49 today is still dealing with those residual effects of hurt. It doesn't change. But we're going to follow her. Okay? We're going to follow this 49-year-old, because she's making a drastic change coming soon, right? And she's going to do some things in her life that she feels that's going to make a better her, so she can be around longer for a better you. Stay with me. Follow me. Subscribe down below. Watch me work with Auntie Tina. We're going to keep it going. If you want to come on and sit with me and share your story, please let me know. In the comments, let's go. Let's heal each other. Self-heal, self-love. Watch me work with Auntie Tina. Let's go.